Brought up depth. They will get most of that depth back, hopefully Friday. Maybe not JaVale McGee with the flu, but Ingram and Rondo, hopefully, against New Orleans. CC, what was the key to this game?
Well, depth is part of the key. It's hard for any NBA team. We saw Golden State. If they lose one of their starters, one of their all-stars, they have two starters out in Ingram and JaVale McGee. Ingram's been out for a long period of time. JaVale McGee just recently missed these last couple games. But their inability to meet, one of the things we talked about the Lakers, what they improved on was their overall team defense. Like on this road trip, they're individually defensively, especially with the last two games when you don't have JaVale McGee there as a rim protector. You don't have him and Tyson Chandler because you need both of them. Tyson Chandler is not a starter right now. And JaVale McGee, we saw when he was playing 25 to 30 minutes, he starts to, his overall efficiency goes down the more minutes he gets over 22 minutes. So I think right now they're struggling defensively, individual defensively, especially at the point guard spot. Last night's game was about the type of energy that Brooklyn's got a good ball team. They're well coached. They play a good style where they get up and down. They shoot the ball well. They got a number of shooters on their team. And the Lakers really couldn't hit the three ball, especially for the second half, the way they shot it in the first quarter. But an ignited Nets team, a very into it crowd. It was a big time crowd there last night. And right now the Nets are on a 6-game winning streak, the longest in the NBA currently. Yeah. So they're playing their best basketball of the season. Lakers not playing great basketball on this 4-game road trip.
Right now, that's the best place to watch basketball in New York City, is Barclays in Brooklyn rather than
Well, both of them are very, very nice to me, so I can't make the distinction between the two.
Right now, given the way the Nets are playing, that to me is the best.
Yes.
Is the best environment. Yes. The Garden's always the Garden, but the Nets they are finally going to have their own draft pick next year. They have some quality, no great players on the team, but some quality young players on the team. But what LeBron's talking about when he says depth, and when you bring up JaVale McGee, it's not just not having JaVale. It's who's in there in place of him. They had 10 minutes played at center last night by Zubats and Mo Wagner.
Yes.
Those guys need to be playing 0 minutes, except for in mop-up time. You mentioned they were without two starters. At the beginning of the year, Rondo was a starter too, see? So, I mean, now Lonzo's going to be the starter, but because there's no Rondo, he'll be back soon. Ingram, he'll be back soon. JaVale, I think, probably be back Friday as well. But because those two backcourt players are not out there, that's how Svi Mykhailiuk and KCP play a combined 43 minutes. Like, KCP needs to be playing about 20 minutes. Svi needs to be playing 0 minutes. And so all of that contributed to it. And the other thing that happened was this. There was one sustained run in this basketball game. The Nets in the third quarter. The Nets went on a 12-0 run in the third quarter. The Lakers, in the first half and in the fourth quarter, the Lakers never went on a similar run of their own. So they're in a position where they're down 187 with 7.5 minutes left. And when you're in that spot, if you're going to execute the comeback, which they almost did, you've got to have all the breaks go your way. And Jared Dudley got an offensive rebound, put back. That hurt you. In the final minute, Jared Dudley and D'Angelo Russell hit contested threes late in the shot clock, the shot the Lakers wanted them to take. And if you're down 13 midway through the fourth, any of those things beat you. All of those things beat the Lakers.
If Jared Dudley gets 13 points, you're going to have problems.
10 in the fourth.
I mean, so you're going to have problems. They couldn't get a stop late in the game. Individually, the Lakers are just not good defenders. We have seen the team was starting to come together, and collectively they've been a better team defender. But if you look on this road trip and look at Lonzo, Lonzo to me is not a great individual point guard defender. And with all the great point guards we have in the West, he struggled on this road trip. First game in the road trip, they face Houston Rockets. Harden gives him 50. Third game in the road trip, John Wall comes from nowhere and gets 40. And last night, D'Angelo Russell gets some revenge on the Lakers who traded him after drafting him out of Ohio State. He drops 22 and 13 on them. So Lonzo has to get better as an individual single ball defender.
And D'Angelo hit the shot that basically clinched the game. That put him up 2 scores with less than 30 seconds left. LeBron hit that 3 in the corner, but that was when the Lakers were down. That was just to cut it to 4, I think, not to get them the leader time.
Do you look at this road trip and say, okay, they were missing some key components here? I mean, this is a team that trailed by double digits most of the second half and still kept it close at the very end. Can you say once they get all the pieces back, they should be okay, or is there legitimate concern?
I mean, listen, you shouldn't lose back-to-back games to Washington and Brooklyn, and they weren't. When I say back-to-back, I mean consecutive, not on back-to-back nights. You don't even have the excuse of being tired. The Washington game was the game on the road trip that has to be the most disappointing. And by the way, that's been a
point effort.
the LeBron's 13-point effort where they got blown out, and that's been a theme for the Lakers all year. Sunday games, I don't know what the Lakers doing on Saturdays. This one you can't even blame it on that because they were played Saturday night and then traveled. But Sunday games, this Laker team, home or away, has been bad. They've been a bad road team this year overall, below 500, very good at home. But LeBron was right. We had a chance to be 2-2 on the road trip, and you would have taken that. I think they probably went into the game against Brooklyn last night expecting to win. They never got any separation. The Nets got that separation in the third quarter.
Yeah, the Nets played good. They are a good basketball team. They got some good young players. They got some good pieces, and they're not at full strength. But what they're doing right now currently with that 6-game winning streak, it brings a lot of energy to that franchise. When you're talking about LeBron James in the building, they're in the last game of a 4-game road trip. You know he's going to be going at it hard, and it all started with that block dunk from the beginning. They were able to keep that energy throughout the game, and in the fourth, they say it all the time in the NBA, it's a make or miss league. Nets made their shots. Lakers weren't able to make their shots at the end.
First quarter of the game, the Lakers were 5 of 6 from 3. The rest of the game, they were, I think, 8 of 34 from 3. So that contributed to it. But another thing is this. You mentioned LeBron's 13-point game on Sunday. They're going to lose 100% of the games LeBron plays like that. When LeBron goes 36, 13, and 8, and you're against a team that's not going to make the playoffs out east, you want to win those games. He alluded to it there. He's like, you're in the Wild West. Like, every game in the standings matter. Now, they didn't drop any games in the standings. They're still in 4th place, but they got a tough stretch coming up. They play the Warriors on Christmas Day. If people want to look really ahead, the month of February is a hellscape for the Lakers schedule-wise. They need to be in a good position headed into right around the trade deadline because that month of February is so tough and the last handful of games of the year are so tough. So this is a game that I don't want to say was squandered because they were never in control of, but I don't think they played their best. Part of it's depth. Part of it's that they didn't play that well.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.